Bonjour à tous et bienvenue.
Hello everybody, welcome to our Destination Business webinar. This time our webinar is dedicated to Serbia, a country which is quite amazing. We had the privilege of visiting it last year with His Serene Highness Prince Albert II, visited a few months ago. So as a tribute to our Serbian friends and make things easier for them, we are now going to switch into English. Our webinar will be in English, the MEBinar. If you want to choose the English channel, I encourage you to find the icon of the globe at the bottom of the screen, and you have a choice of language there. You can click if you want to listen to the French, or you can click to listen in English. So kindly go ahead and choose your language.
Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Guillaume and I am the CEO of the Monaco Economic Board. We are pleased to welcome you to this latest business destination, MEBinar, introducing the Serbian economy to Monaco's entrepreneurs. Before we proceed, let me remind our viewers watching us via Zoom that you can follow this MEBinar either in French or English. If you want to follow it in French, for ease of understanding, you can switch languages at any time by clicking on the world map button at the bottom of your screen. During last October's princely state visit to Serbia, the Monaco Economic Board signed a memorandum of understanding with the Serbian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. In the spirit of enhanced economic collaboration between Serbia and the Principality of Monaco, today's webinar aims to highlight Serbia as a place of business and investment. Organized jointly with the Serbian Embassy to France and Monaco, the Serbian Chamber of Commerce, and the Monaco Economic Board, of course, we aim to showcase the economic opportunities of this Balkan country that has applied for membership to the EU. Thanks to its numerous free trade agreements with the EU itself, as well as with Russia and CEFTA, Serbia is ripe for foreign investment. Serbia's geographical and cultural proximity, its innovation-oriented economy, its attractive taxation policy, as well as a solid financial system, all make a strong case for considering Serbia as a place of business. Serbia is also known as having the largest reserves of lithium in Europe, which is precious in this period where we all need lithium batteries, of course. Is it worth noting? It is worth noting that there is a strong increase in the export of Serbian technological know-how, notably in application and program development. The digital sector employs some 45,000 people. Around 250 new companies are created yearly in Serbia. Serbia's strong digital and startup culture, combined with a real desire for development, are all arguments to make this country, with its young and dynamic leaders, your future business destination. Please bear in mind that the audience invited to send us questions for our panelists during the event. The Deputy CEO of the Monaco Economic Board, Justin Hyman, will be conducting the Q&A portion of the webinar, which will take place at the end of the economic presentations. Let me now introduce the guest. We have an esteemed panel of guests with us today. Please allow me to welcome first Her Excellency Natasha Maric, Ambassador of Serbia in France and Monaco. It is an honor to have you with us, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be with you here today.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Then I am delighted to introduce Mr. Mihailo Vesović, Director of the Sector for Strategic Analysis, Services and Internationalization, Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Serbia, who will present the current business climate and key economic sectors of Serbia. Mr. Vesović, welcome. Many thanks in advance for your insightful presentation. Let me now introduce Aleksandar Bogunović, Secretary of the Association of Plant Production and Food Industry. CCIS will highlight the strength of the country in agriculture. I am sure that you will all join me in thanking Mr. Bogunović for his presentation of Serbian agriculture. Mr. Bogunovic's presentation will be followed by Ivan Urošević, president of the group of producers of strong alcoholic beverages. And owner of distillery, TOC, will highlight Serbian know-how in the production of alcoholic beverages. Many thanks, Mr. Urošević. As you might know, the Monaco Economic Board has a few member companies in the alcoholic beverage industry, as well as many members in upscale restaurant groups. I am sure they will have been most interested in your presentation at the end of it. We will now be treated to two presentations of business opportunities in the field of innovation. The first one will be spearheaded by Bojana Krstić, head of the Center for Innovation within the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Serbia, and then Mila Milenković, head of the Directorate for IT Support and ICT Services, Telecom Serbia. Thank you very much. Now I think I introduced everybody, and now I let, of course, Her Excellency have the first word. Thank you.
Hello to everyone. I would like to check first, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Directeur Général Exécutif, Monsieur Rose, Monsieur Vesović, Mesdames et Messieurs, bonjour.
Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Rose, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, allow me to thank the CEO of the Monaco Economic Board, Mr. Rose, for inviting me to take part in this event. I invited this invitation with the greatest of pleasure. We all share the conviction that today, whilst we continue to fight for the health of our citizens in a war against a pandemic that has been unnerving the world for the past year, it is equally important to strengthen our economies in order to save jobs and create new prospects for business in the future. The right path has always been to create new opportunities and to deepen existing partnerships, which is why today's webinar is so very important. I'm going briefly to present the advantages of Serbia and explain why my country is a good place to invest. The representatives of the Serbian Chamber of Commerce will go into greater detail, but first of all, I would like to give a brief overview of bilateral relations between Monaco and Serbia. In October 2020, at the invitation of the President of Serbia, Aleksandar Vučić, His Serene Highness Prince Albert II of Monaco made his first official visit to Serbia. This two-day visit was historic for us, and we believe it contributed greatly to enhancing our mutual knowledge and understanding. During the visit, a memorandum of understanding was signed between the Monaco Economic Board and the Serbian Chamber of Commerce, and our president awarded the Order of the Republic of Serbia to His Serene Highness Prince Albert II of Monaco. Other cooperative projects are planned, so we can say that today, with this economic forum, we are inaugurating cooperation for this year. And the seed, what now it has been planted, will only grow with the expected improvement in the epidemiological situation. Now I'd like to present the strong points of our economy. Political and economic stability, regional cooperation, infrastructure development, investment and educational reform are all among Serbia's highest priorities. Serbia is on a clear path to EU membership, whilst maintaining close ties and partnerships with countries around the entire world. Regional stability remains one of the highest priorities of the Serbian government. Belgrade is determined to continue to lead the region towards cooperation and unity to guarantee peace and prosperity for future generations. In October 2019, in order to strengthen regional market integration, Serbia launched a mini Schengen initiative. The leaders of Albania, Northern Macedonia, and Serbia pledged to work together to remove obstacles to the movement of goods and people between the three Balkan countries. Other benefits include our optimal geographical location, financial advantages and incentives for investors, and free trade agreements with other countries that open up a market of 1.3 billion people. In 2020, Serbia led Europe in terms of economic growth. This was possible thanks to bold economic and structural reforms that had been taken since 2014, including fiscal consolidation, improvements in the regulatory framework to foster investment and business, and reopening the country quickly after the first wave of coronavirus. In 2020 also, our country had a net inflow of foreign direct investment of 2.9 billion euros net, 3 billion gross, which goes to show that many foreign companies such as Toyota Tires, Boyson, ZTF, Bros invested in Serbia even in times of crisis. Serbia has achieved remarkable vaccination results by procuring large quantities of vaccines produced by Pfizer-BioNTech, as well as those produced by China and Russia. And we expect to receive the AstraZeneca vaccine very soon, too. To date, we have vaccinated nearly 1 million of our citizens, and which is absolutely astounding, given that we have a population of 7 million people. Serbia also participated in the Kovacs vaccination program, where at a donor conference, we donated 2 million euros to develop a vaccine. Finally, allow me to express my pleasure at the fact that monogas companies have already started to contact the embassy. In their own words, they are saying that as members of the Monaco Economic Board, they have already seen the announcement that economic relations with Serbia are set to expand. And we can say that our cooperation is already taking place. I would invite all interested companies to contact the Serbian embassy in Paris and to obtain from us all information they need about Serbia. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you for this presentation, and thank you. And I'm glad to hear, and everybody knows it, that Serbia is amongst the first countries when it comes to vaccination. And it's very impressive the way
second in Europe, and I think
yes, that's really impressive.
Thank
so
you.
Now I am delighted to introduce Mr. Mihailo Vesović, the Director of the Sector for Strategic Analysis, Services and Internationalization, Chamber of Commerce and the Industry of Serbia, of course, our partner, who will present now the current business climate and key economic sectors of Serbia. Mr. Vesović, please.
Hello, Mr. Rose, Your Excellency, Ms. Maric, and Mr. Hyman. Nice to hear you and see you again. It's our great pleasure to be participating together in this webinar. Well, we are on the business side of the overall, and generally, I think that we should be as much as concrete that companies present here today want to learn as much as they can about the potential sectors and industry. But I should just say that basically after just a few months that we signed the agreement and started and met each other, this is probably it's already a third event that we are having in some, okay, it's in an online manner, but I think it's great. I think that we don't have this kind of dynamic communicating with other economic representatives. And I think that this proves and shows that we are somewhere we're going to find a potential fields of cooperation, because as you heard, our general cooperation and overall trade partnership is well, we should say very moderate, and it's not our primary goal. Our primary goal is to basically get to know your business people, your potential investors, and get to know what are their business opportunities in Serbia, and of course show the Serbian business people what are the business opportunities or what kind of gates the Monaco can open up for our economy. As you heard a lot about Serbia's general success in the start of the vaccination. You heard that we didn't have a terrible year, as you could expect all around the world and Europe. In general, we have a firm projection for this year that hopefully that in the second part, or at least next 9 months, will be much better, and that we'll have the rise of the production and overall GDP about 5%, which is quite optimistic. Just to mention some datas, you have 20,000 foreign companies already present and operating on the territory of Serbia. You have like 60% of overall foreign direct investments that are going into the West Balkan. It's somewhere about 2 billion, 2.5 billion are going to Serbia. Last year it was a 2.5 billion, although it was probably the worst year for the investors. Most of the investors already present on the Serbian market continued or expressed the intent to continue investing here. So in generally, we are having a stable macroeconomic outlook that proves the BB plus from Standards and Poor, and we expect that we will reach the investment grade at the beginning of the next year. Hopefully, it's our strategic goal. One of the strategic goals that you should bear in mind when you're thinking about Serbia is that we are not just talking about Serbia, we are talking about common investment space like West Balkan 6. It's generally 18 million people. It's a very prosperous and probably place where you can, on the border of the European Union, settle your operations, investment, and basically without a lot of administrative or generally logistical problems, export towards the European Union. That proved to be very important in what we learned during this COVID year, that generally local production chains are better secured than international. And in general, I think that the concept of nearshoring is something that we should expect to be one of the trends for the next year. As you see from the program of today's webinar, that you have basically, we have chosen what are the fields of our interest. One of these is the food production. Second one is the ICT technology or the innovation. And the third is energy efficiency, first of all, but don't forget about environmental protection and possibilities for the technologies for the circular economy. So we have 3 brief presentations and 3 representatives of the business that will tell you a little bit more about potential in this area. I must just mention that basically ICT sector with the food industry is the drivers of our economy, and of course the real estate and the construction industry has been certainly in the last few years something that Serbia is mainly recognizable for. And one thing that is important, although we have a small deficit in the foreign trade, we have a sufficit in the trade of the services. So basically we are the biggest exporters of services and food in the region, and also a lot of countries generally cooperate with Serbia. We have a rise of almost 20% of the ICT industry, the gaming industry, the telecommunication, the all online new tools. But luckily for us, you can hear it from the people who are really actually doing it from Telecom in the future. So just to mention, the Chamber of Commerce is basically a widespread institution, represents interests of overall economy, communicates with the government, and support the investors in a sense of removing the administrative barriers, explaining in details what are the potential incentives that government can provide. And we are welcoming everyone who is present today to ask the questions, to go further, to investigate, and we'll be their support in that process. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mihailo. You are really a star. Thank you very much. It was a very good presentation. And I think that you gave a very good idea of the way you can be received in Serbia when you go there, because that's enthusiasm and really a way to make you feel home. Now I leave the floor to Mr. Aleksandar Bogunović, the secretary of the Association of Plant Production and Food Industry within CCIS. He will highlight the strengths of the country in agriculture. Thank you, Mr. Bogunović.
Thank you, Mr. Guillaume. Dear participants, allow me to show you briefly our situation in agriculture. So I will try to leave more space for the company to present their product. But as Mihailo said, agriculture plays a significant role in our economy. So basically, we are situated in the Balkan Peninsula with very good climatic conditions for agriculture production, and therefore, due to the variety of the also soil quality and the microclimatic situation, we have various production of plant and also animals. If we look at the agriculture in Serbia, so it is very well developed also first because we have a lot of available and utilized agricultural land, which is more than 3.5 million hectares. And we have a large amount of people involved in agriculture sector. So we have basically almost 1.3 million of population which works in agriculture, and with almost 600,000 agricultural households. Almost half of them are in the register of agricultural households, and the average size of the land plot is like 5.4 hectares. If you look at agriculture as a whole, we see that together with fishing, it contributes significantly to the GDP of Serbia with more than 6%. So if you look also in the figures, we can say that the total value of the production is quite high, and that every year we are steadily growing in export and in surplus in agriculture trade. If you look also here, the situation in the land utilization, we see that almost more than 80% is arable land, and we have 5% of the land dedicated to orchards. If you look at the structure of the crops, so we have 52% which is under the crops. Significant production is dedicated to industrial crops, but also to the fruit and vegetables, which is steadily stable growing in last couple of years. So we have annual increase in land plots under the fruits and vegetables. A result of this significant portion of land dedicated to agriculture is that we are one of the biggest producers of corn, wheat, sugar beet, sunflower, soya, plums, and apple, and of course raspberry together. Okay, raspberries and plum. Currently, we are on the third biggest producers in the world, and maybe more famous for our raspberries, which is going on almost every destination in the world due to its very high quality and the specific high content of sugar in them. Also, we are significant exporters of corn. Currently, we are on the 10th position in the world, and very significant producers of soya in Europe. But there we have to emphasize one very important thing, and it is that the Serbia is a non-GMO country, so all the food produced in Serbia is non-GMO, which gives additional value to our products. Also, aside from the raspberry and plum, we are very big producers of apple, and we are currently biggest exporter of apples in Russia. If you look at the food industry, it is following the big production in this primary and agriculture. So we are producing also meat, milk, dairy products, also a lot of sugar, sunflower oil, and also the confectionery production is growing. Mineral waters, we can emphasize that Serbia is very rich in water reserves, and we have significant basins of water reserves in our country. And due to that, we have a variety of springs and very high quality mineral waters. Also very significant is production of alcohol-free drinks and also beer, wine. I can also emphasize that wine is very, significant, reached significant growth in last decade because of strong investments in the past 20 years. So we are collecting results now. We can see that we have a large number of very high quality wines which are getting highest rewards on international competitions. And also we are significant producers of honey, and one of our favorite and most traditional drinks when we talk about spirits is rakia, which you will have opportunity to hear after my presentation. As mentioned, we have stable growth in export. We are one of the rare countries in the Balkan that can show the surplus in agricultural trade, and also due to this increase in plant production and also increase in investments in especially marketing, design, packaging, and we can see that the result is seen in the increase of export to all destinations in the world. So we are quite proud that the standards that we apply in our productions are matching the needs of every market in the world. So we are exporting, to say, I will just list a couple of products which is most significant is this apple, raspberry, plums. And I also want to notify that we are investing a lot in organic production. And in the beginning, it didn't have such a strong growth, but in the last couple of years, we can see and we can monitor the significant growth in number of producers, but also the surfaces under organic production, and it is also resulting in high increase in export of organic products. So basically, if we look in our possibilities, so we have a huge potential for growing of investment in primary agriculture. So this export of fruit, as mentioned, is also a result of the very high and modern orchards which are present now in Serbia, with all full agronomic measures which are applied. And as mentioned, also digitalization is getting more and more in agriculture, and its application in agriculture gives also more potential and more space for further promotion on international markets. We are also now in the pre-accession period. Because of that, we are also we have possibility to use the EU funds for rural development, and this is also support for investments in agriculture primary production, but also in processing. So as a country which is following innovative concepts, we are strongly investing also in renewable energy in agriculture, especially. We have several plans for utilization of biomass, and also the solar panels are more and more becoming practice in Serbia in agriculture. And as also said, we have a lot of new modern concepts applied in marketing, and branding of products is something that is giving also results in our external trade. So I have tried to put here on this slide a couple of products which could be very interesting for you, and also the products which are getting on international markets. And as first on the left, you see this Serbian spirit rakia, which we'll hear afterwards, but also as mentioned wines, but also the different type of processing of organic products and fruit and beverages, alcohol-free drinks, very specific like hiking food, very specifically designed with high nutrient values. And this is also somehow presenting the new trends and orientation of Serbian agriculture for future. So in alignment with our smart specialization strategy, which we adopted last year. So the concept is food for future. So we are streamlining the agriculture towards the new and modern concepts, towards the added value and the food with higher nutrition values. Thanks to the high quality of climate and soil that we have for production, we are actually matching the processing industry towards it. And this is something that gives us the great potential for growth in the future, especially proven situation in last year, when due to the COVID, actually we are one of the rare economies that had in this sector growth, not declination. So with this, I would like to end my presentation and give floor to the second presenter. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bogunović. It was, I think, a very clear presentation. Now it will be followed by Ivan Urošević, the president of the group of producers for strong alcoholic beverage, and owner of distillery TOC. You will now highlight Serbian know-how in the production of alcoholic beverage. Please, Mr. Urošević.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for opportunity to give you some information about our national products, and nice to be with you today. Okay, I will share my screen, just a moment. Okay. Okay. Like I mentioned, Serbia is the land of rakia, because rakia is our traditional products. Okay, now is okay. This is the main products in our country. What we wish to say that is our history and our life. From 13th century till now, rakia have important role in our Serbian history, and our people produce during this history a lot of rakia, like food, like some kind of the medicine, and to this day this product is very important for us, like national products. In early stage, production was in individual home distillery, and every home have their own small distillery units, and they own a recipe for how to prepare and made rakia. Today we have a modern distillery, 640 modern registered distillery, and we have a new standard for the products. We have a legislation who is from 215, the same legislation like in European Union. Some short sentences about the main things how we produce rakia in Serbia. First of all, is important things is the quality of the fruit, and we use only the first class of fruit for production of rakia, mashing fruit and putting out the pit from the fruit who have the pit. After that, we put all that mash to fermentation. In modern distillery, we use a lot of modern technology and use selection yeasts for the shorter fermentation and good quality of the fermenting mash. After finishing of fermentation, we need to make distillation of that fermented fruit mash. And traditionally in Serbia, we produce rakia with double distillation. First is distillation of fermented mash, and after that we need to make redistillation of the first part of the distillation. That means that during a second distillation we put out some fraction, and on that way we can get the pure quality of the spirit. In the future we call that part of the distillation rakia. That spirit is on the 65%, usually 65% of alcohol, and depending of the kind of fruit, we can put on the on maturation in oak barrels. That means for plum, apple, and maybe some grape. But for the fruit from the pear, or also apple and roseberry, strawberry, and many berries fruit, we can put on the inox tanks for the stabilization and waiting for the next part of the operation, and that is the cold stabilization, diluting with the water, because 65% of alcohol must put on the degrees of alcohol who is usable for drinking, and that's almost between 40 and 45% of alcohol, depending of the kind of the fruit rakia. And after that, we need to make some kind of filtration to make the stable products without any changing. After that, we make bottling, labeling, and closing final products. Traditionally, in Serbia, rakia from plum is the main rakia, and about 70% of all fruit that we produce rakia is from plum. And we have a lot of variety of plum. Some is domestic on this picture. This is Crvena ranka is the this one, and Požegača is the on the bottom. But several different, about 10 different variety give us some opportunity to have a lot of variation of aromatic complex in final products. And that is the main things why Serbia is the best for production of plum rakia, because we have a good fruit potential and a lot of variety of the plum, especially from plum. Yes. Okay, like my colleague said, we are the third production of plum in the world, and you can see this graphic which other country is have also big production of the plum. 70% of plum we use for production of rakia, and 70% of rakia, all rakia in Serbia is from plum. Also, we make rakia from apricot, pear, apple, quince, roseberry, blackberry, grape. All of this rakia is usually the clear one. Plum also almost go to the barrel, but the important thing is that is a very delicious rakia, and we have a cultural habit how to drink rakia in Serbia, and I think that for people of Republic of Monaco is a good opportunity to show them what is rakia is, and how is delicious product for pleasure and for good impression for food, comparing, and for pleasure. Also, with fruit production in Serbia, you can see on this graphic that every year we have increasing of the plum production and other fruit, and many of them go to rakia, like our traditional products. And in last 10 years, we have a lot of new plantage of the plum and other fruits who distilleries use for raw material for production of rakia. What is the main things for make specific rakia from Serbia? That is a specific microclimate who is unique on this part of the world because of a lot of sunny days, good agricultural techniques. First class of raw material we using in fermentation for production. Double distillation in copper distillation units is important because we get on that way the pure alcohol with the main characteristic of the aromatic complex of aromatic compounds from the fruit what we use, and the same legislation and standard for final product like in European Union. That means that rakia from Serbia is a good quality and with all standard what we need for the food safety. This is some picture of some modern distillery in Serbia. You can see on the first picture, the copper units distillation for double distillation, similar like in France for Sharon type of the distillation. Also, you can see oak barrels. We use mainly the oak from the Serbia, for the West Serbia, and they all give good quality of the matured spirit, like final products. And if you look this slide, you can see that during the years we have increasing of the export of fruit-based spirits, almost in Europe and US, United States of America, but our producer export also in Asia, in China, in Australia, and every year we have some increasing of the export of rakia, like traditional products. And this is some picture of the final products. You can see that there is a lot of good packaging, good bottles. Our producers use modern way of presenting our products, and also you can see that many of our products in the prestige world fairs and international awards get the good prices in the top of the price list, and we are really thinks that rakia in the future can be something new on the modern world with the specific characteristic and aromatics compounds who show Serbia in the good size pictures. Yeah, okay, and that's all for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Cheers to you. And I think that I will try to taste the rakia as soon as possible. Yeah. Thank you. Now, we will now be treated to two presentations of business opportunities in the field of innovation. The first one will be spearheaded by Bojana Krstić, head of the Center for Innovation within the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Serbia. So please, Bojana first.
Thank you, Mr. Guillaume.
The floor is yours.
Okay. I will represent you innovation potential as a major factor in the economic development of Republic of Serbia. First of all, we talk about legal framework. For us are important free strategies, smart specialization strategy of Republic of Serbia, which have 4 priority areas like food for future, ICT, machines and production process of the future, and also creative industry. Then we have strategy for development of artificial intelligence in the Republic of Serbia, and this strategy is in line with the European Artificial Intelligence Initiative. Then also important strategy for us is industrial policy strategy of Republic of Serbia with strategic themes like human resource empowerment, digitalization and innovation, investment in international businesses, environment, and circular economy. All these strategies are linked here, and you can download it on English later. Also, what's new in Serbia is law on digital property, which will be in power in June 2021. Law on digital property, the aim of this law is to improve the business environment and contribute to the further digitalization of services in the economy of the Republic of Serbia. Then when we talk about institutional framework, we cooperate with all these institutions you can see here. And first of all is government that is building an economy based on science and innovation and large investment in scientific research and development. Also, we have a separate department for innovation called Cabinet of the Minister for Innovation and Technological Development. And also we have Ministry of Education and Science, which is in charge of development and promotion of science and research activities for the purpose of scientific, technological, and economic development, that defining and implementing policies and strategies, and also make some programs for innovators. Then we have also what is important is Serbian Chamber of Commerce with 16 regional chambers and chamber of the main city, Belgrade. And we represent the view of business and SMEs all. Also, what is important is that we have 4 technology transfer centers. They're on universities, one in Belgrade, Krakow, Niš, and Novi Sad. We also have some funds for financing innovation, like Innovation Fund and Science Fund. Innovation Fund, it's financial support innovation activities for SMEs. They also have some program for cooperation between science and economy. Also, we established a Science Fund of the Republic of Serbia to provide support to scientific research activities. And we also have in register of Ministry of Education, Science and Technological Development 123 universities and faculties. 8 are universities. Also, we have 65 institutes and 60 institutes of national importance. Then we talk about Serbia like an emerging hub tech in Europe. We have the most competitive corporate taxation in Europe, and our government is committed to digitalization. Also, if you want to open R&D center here or a second headquarters, we can provide you meeting with the development agency of Serbia, like they do this with Microsoft, NCR, Continental, and many others. Also, 2 Serbian tech companies is Nordeus and 7 Bridges. Also, when we talk about some statistic, we are on the 53rd place at Global Innovation Index from 131 countries in the world. And also on European Innovation Scoreboard, we are defined as moderate innovator. When we talk about funding opportunities, we have national programs like Innovation Fund, Science Fund, Development Fund, Development Agency of Serbia, and other ministry programs. Also, what is also important is international programs like Horizon 2020, COSME, and others. Other source of funding is like VC funds. They are low in our country, but some of them are South Central Ventures, ICT Hub Ventures, Start Labs, and others. Also, our government promotes tax incentives, which we have some brochure you can download also here. And there are support organizations in programs like Start It, ICT Hub, Impact Hub, Science Technology Parks in Belgrade. Also, when we talk about network of science and technology parks, for now we have 4 science technology parks. Your delegation was at Science Technology Park in Belgrade. Also, we have in Čačak, Niš, and the last in Novi Sad. And also they employ a total of 1,295 employees. Also, one interesting project for you is from financing from Horizon 2020 from Bioscience Institutes called Antares project. It involved to Bioscience Institute into European Center of Excellence for Sustainable Agriculture. And also it is for ICT and agriculture, like modern agriculture. Also, our government is building a new building of Bioscience Institute in Novi Sad, which is in construction. And what is also important that they provide 3 types of services: business and ecosystem. Also, they have a digital platform, which is very interesting. Then we also have one project of importance for Serbia. It's called Government Data Center in Krakow, and it's 5 times bigger than this one in Belgrade. Also, if you are interested in storing equipment under commercial conditions at this data center, you can send a letter of interest on this mail. It's a government office, and this is one of the most modern data center in the region. Also, which will be available to universities, technology parks, and for startups. IBM and Huawei also signed agreement here to use the capacity of this center. When we talk about activities of our innovation department, we can say that our main activity is Council for Cooperation between Science and Economy, and Miss Mila Milenković is from Telecom Serbia, is president of that council. We make many activities in future period. We do talks with experts, networking, pitching, workshops, and for now we have Open Innovation Club, or Open Innovation Academy, who runs Mila Milenković. We also have competition for promoting best technological innovations for about 70 years in our country. We organized that competition with Ministry for Education, Science and Technological Development. Also organize many activities, workshops, and other promotion of innovation. Also do cooperation with Development Agency of Serbia and Enterprise Network, European Enterprise Network. Then also what we can provide you activities of innovation department. We can connect you to the government institutions, scientific research organization, private business entities. Also, we promote scientific and technical activities of Serbia and provide the relevant information. Also, we can provide to Serbian market information from Monaco innovations. We can provide information on the innovation ecosystem of Serbia, all about strategies, funding, program, events, and policies. And we could together organize some scientific meetings like workshops, seminars, training, conferences in order to practice in the field of innovation and identify opportunities for improving business and technological development. Also, we provide professional assistance and support to business delegation. And that's all from me. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bojana. It was, I think, very complete as a presentation. And now to be completed by Mrs. Mila Milenković, who is the head of the Directorate for IT Support and ICT Service at Telecom Serbia. Mrs. Milenković, please.
Hello. My position is actually different. I'm heading Digital Innovation Department within this division for IT and ICT, but however, I will try to cover wider situation within our company, Telecom Serbia, and especially in IT division of Telecom Serbia. Let's start sharing. I hope you can see it. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, we see it.
Okay. Okay, so I'm heading the Department for Digital Innovations and Applications within sector for IT planning and digital transformation. A lot of digital. And as Mr. Rose mentioned earlier, a lot of digital initiatives across whole Serbia. And they are normally led by telco operators. Telecom Serbia actually involves not only Serbian market, but also we have a footprint in Bosnia and Herzegovina through our daughter companies, MTEL Banja Luka and MTEL Montenegro. We have several connected companies, and our focus is not only to provide telephony services, but all kind of ICT services, and recently we started focusing on multimedia services especially. Regarding mobile telephony, we have nearly 6 million customers in all three companies. But all in all, if you look at all our services, fixed, mobile, telephone, internet, multimedia, etc., we cover more than 10 million subscribers that are served by Telecom Serbia and daughter companies. I could pick any of these areas because innovation is in center of attention in every area, but IoT services is area where we expect a lot of different small companies as partners. For 12 years, Telecom Serbia works with different partners, mainly regional partners and Serbian partners, but also we are quite open to work with the partners from abroad. The only thing is that if you have something to offer to Telecom Serbia or Telecom Serbia's customers, we normally work with the local partners because of first lines of technical support and maybe some kind of local customization, necessity to customize solutions from abroad, etc. But we are quite open, and for so many years we have developed a partnership ecosystem of Telecom Serbia based mainly on revenue share business model. So if we have something to offer together to our customers, normally marketing and sales is on Telecom Serbia, and cloud, of course, cloud solution of Telecom Serbia is always available, but all other solutions we could offer to our customers together. And of course, sharing risk on that leads us to the sharing revenue. This is some kind of invitation before my IoT explanation. What we've done so far with IoT technology in Telecom Serbia, and also together with our partners in that area on Serbian market. We decided to start with the unlicensed solution. I suppose that you heard about low power wide area network solutions, where you can actually have connected devices that are quite distant. Could be this, the distance between them could be even up to 10 kilometers in rural areas. And with the lifespan, battery lifespan of 10 to 20 years. It could be used for any kind of connected services, connected devices solution. And it doesn't actually involve paying any kind of licenses. And we decided for the start to choose this unlicensed technology, but I will explain a little bit further. All the applications that are developed and also platform that is chosen. This is French technology. It's Actility platform from France. It's actually future-proof. So if and it is sort of access agnostic with some minor configuration changes, we could use the same platform for different networks, even for 5G network. That is probably maybe some of the next steps in the near future, either next year or in the year that are coming. So we wanted to start with IoT because IoT is something that will cover smart city solutions and all other different smart home, mHealth, all different solutions that will be actually used much more in the future. But we couldn't decide which kind of service we should start with, because anytime when any telco and probably any corporate want to involve new technology and start with using new platform and new network, normally you have to have some kind of business model and business case that will cover all the upfront investments that are needed to be invested. And we decided to start with LoRa standard, that is one of low power wide area network standard. There are several others. But LoRa was the one that covered one of the biggest problems of Telecom Serbia. We had actually a lot of robberies in our manholes, cable manholes, and we wanted to protect our copper cables from being stolen by different entities and for different reasons. But we had multi-million euros loss for years, and decided to start with the covering solution with LoRa to find solution for protection from copper cable stealing. Very important for us was to find the good platform and the good partners that will provide a specific solution for this need. And we found this in our local partners called BitGear. As Bojana Krstić mentioned earlier, that we work together in Council for a cooperation between science and economy. We work together, not only corporates, but also smaller companies that have specific solutions that could be actually placed to the market through our channels and to address our customers' needs. BitGear is one of those. Also, we are open for all other companies, and if Monaco companies would like to invest in a local, maybe startups or companies, I would suggest to look at the solution that will address IoT needs within the market. Also, if you have some of solutions in your country, you could easily approach us and work with either directly with us, but more probably through our one of our local partners that would help your solution to be customized. We started really with the new network for somebody that is running nearly 6 million mobile customer base in 3 countries in the region. We were very happy to actually use all our knowledge, and we were very, very quick in covering Serbia, starting probably normally from the major towns, from Belgrade, Niš, Krakow, and Novi Sad, but we didn't stop there, and we have covered country with a lot of sensors to cover all our manholes, and the solution that actually sensor that is put in our manhole looks like that, is developed by BitGear, and covers not only protection of opening, irregular opening of our manhole door, but also measures temperature, humidity, etc. And we have now starting developing partnership with the other application developers that could use the data from these sensors, which means that with IoT solution, tomorrow we expect that all the data that will be picked by the sensors could be used through big data initiative, and different application could use this data to develop more and more solutions for our customers. What are the future steps? It's actually our idea is to become a leading IoT and LoRa provider in Serbia, but also after LoRa to involve the other networks with the same service initiatives. We have several partnerships with our big customers, like I couldn't share the names, but one of the biggest soft drink providers is using our solution as well. Also, we work with our major railway operator, and we have a pilot projects in Krakow town in area of waste management, smart lighting and smart parking, which is actually part of smart city initiative in that town. What else I should mention here? When we talk about innovation and being open towards external partners, we developed some mentoring program, and we have our own IoT lab within hub of Telecom Serbia called MTS Digital Factory. And we actually use this space for testing and prototyping with the startups and students from the technical university, with idea of having huge ecosystem of different services for either business customers or even private customers themselves. Also, we are now working on AI analytics, developing an AI analytics team that holds goes very well with our IoT initiative. Also, I would point you to Bojana's presentation, that one of 3 strategies that she mentioned on the first slide was actually was regarding AI initiatives in Serbia. So if some of you are interested in that area, you should actually talk to Bojana, or you can, of course, point to me any questions through LinkedIn or through this organization, through, of course, chambers, Serbian chambers. I would like to offer you opportunity to actually work with us, through us, partner with us, or maybe to learn about other ICT companies that we know within Serbian market, and you might like to invest in them or to work with them. So that would be it for me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Many thanks to you for your presentation. And without further ado, the next presentation will showcase the Serbian business opportunities in the field of renewable energy. For this presentation, I would like to give the floor to Miroslav Lutovac, advisor to the president at the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Serbia, and Mr. Filip Krejcki, assistant of the general manager at Net Invest. Please, Mr. Lutovac, please, I leave you the floor.
Thank you. Okay, let me try to share the presentation. Okay, so that's it. I hope you can see the presentation now. I will just give you a brief overview of the Serbian energy sector, mainly focused on the electricity sector because I think it's the most dynamic one. In general, this will give you a general statistics about the energy sector.
Beware, Mr. Lutovac,
Hello?
because we don't have the presentation. We just have a small overview of your computer, not really the presentation. Please open the presentation if you can. Thank you very much.
Just 1 second. Okay, I'll try again. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes, much better. You just have to pass the presentation. Okay, to put it on full screen.
Well, I'm trying, but it goes to unpredictable.
You just have to play the presentation, in fact.
Okay. Well, this is the best I can get. I hope you can see anyway. Somehow it's not responding when I go to a full screen.
Okay, so we'll do with it. I think our spectators can see what you show.
Okay, the general statistic will show you the basic data about our energy sector. What is the most important is that we are basically energy dependent country. More than 30% of energy is being imported, whereas this does not apply for electricity sector. The structure of our production, as you can see in energy sector, is that the coal is the main resource. And as well as in the past years, it has been the reason for the stability in energy supply. Now it's been a big problem from the environmental point of view. And this is one of the reasons that we are going through changes in new days. As you can see, the overall capacity in the electricity sector are amounting to about 8,000 megawatts. And in general, this is sufficient. So from the point of view of the consumption, we have sufficient electricity production. In that sense, you can see that we have some renewables lately being in operation, especially the wind power plants, which are now at the level of almost 400 megawatts. And we are hoping that in the future, this number or this amount will even rise more. The major player in the electricity sector is the EPS, that's a public entity. And as you can see, the overall production of the power sector of EPS is more than 50% is the lignite-fired power plants, which is, as I mentioned before, the main problem now from air pollution point of view. But we are doing some changes now. From this graph, which will give you the presentation for last several years, you can see the overall consumption, which is the black line, is basically being supplied for our internal production. So it means that we have enough energy for electricity. When it comes to the gas, as well as for the oil, we are basically mainly importing the gas from the Russian and gas and oil as well from different suppliers. And you can see that the capacities are basically, the links are made to Hungary mainly, and we are now preparing to make the connection with Bulgaria. So this will give us a stability in supply. And the distribution network, you can see that it is mainly heavily made in the northern part of Serbia, but in the central part, it's very scarce. The capacities are, as I said, quite sufficient for the time being, but the limitation is the only one pipe, and the capacities can only rely on that supply line. I already mentioned about the oil. and there's not much to be said about that. When it comes to the coal and the use of the coal, basically the most coal that we have is the lignite, and you can see it's almost 99%. Basically, most of the lignite is used in the power plants, and very small portion is being used for heating. We had a major problem in district heating sector, and now there have been some improvements. Basically, the energy that was used was from the crude oil and heavy oil, and it's now being changed. And this is one of the major problems in our environmental perspective altogether. But I hope that we will we'll see some better days. Well, the most important thing is that we have made our focus on renewable energy sources, about which my colleague Philip will tell you more in details. You will see that the major source of renewable energy sources in biomass, almost 60%, whereas all the other are reasonably smaller. So we are hoping to see some changes in the overall usage of renewable energy sources, especially that we are now about in the process of adopting a new law for the first time, the new law for the renewable energy sources. And let me make some remarks. The most important thing with the new energy law, which is about to be adopted, the new resources for the renewable energy sources, is that first of all, we will introduce the auction program, which we hope will give some incentive for more investments, for the big investment. But the also very important thing is that this law will introduce the prosumer as a category, not only for the businesses, but also for the citizens as well. And this will help that we will get some more renewable energy sources, especially the small scale ones, in the huge numbers, I would expect. And this is something that will basically give us the basis for the smart control of energy production. We will have a huge number of small power plants, and this will also require a very active role of IT sector, which will have to monitor and control all this distributed production. That's about it, the shortest I could do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lutovac. You know that renewable energy is very important to Monaco. So I think that you gave an excellent overview of what Serbia has to offer on this floor. And now, last but not least, I'm going to leave the floor to Mr. Filip Krajski, who is the assistant of the general manager at NetInvest. Mr. Krajski, it's yours. Maybe we have, yes, here we go.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me, you can see me well. Thank you for a nice introduction. And I would like to thank you for your time. I'm going to make a short and hopefully sleek presentation to give you an overview about renewable energy sources in Serbia, because I was doing this business for the last 10 years within the company NetInvest. So I believe you can see the shared screen now. The focus is going to be mostly in wind and solar, but I want to give you a few simple steps, what you should know and what you should expect from investing in renewables in Serbia. So just a sec. Sorry, okay. So talking about renewables, on your slide, you see the two pictures. The one is on the left, the wind capacities, which was done by Sander in partner with the German Development Bank. On the right, you will see the solar capacities. It's a wider region, so it's not only Serbia, it's also Bosnia, because we also do businesses in the region. And as you can see, compared to the world averages, Serbia is something similar. and I believe it has unexplored potential in the solar energy. We've been developing here so far most of the wind farms. They're quite in operation, but I see the capacity in solar business in upcoming years. So what was going on for the last 10 years? The first photovoltaic solar power plants in Serbia are done 10 years ago. I was happy to participate because our company did it. It was actually the Spanish government donation. So we made the small PV plants, integrated them into the grid. It was like a demonstration project. As of today, there is only up to 10 megawatts of solar PV plants in operation. It's really, really small. But what I appreciate by the government is that they simplify the procedures for the PV investments and also the renewables. As of today, we also have a 0.5 gigawatt wind farms in operation. It's a, let's say, utility scale major investments. The biggest one is 152 megawatts. The smallest one is 9.9 megawatts. They are all operating decently and delivering electricity into the grid. What is really interesting in the last half a year or 1 year is announcement of new 800 megawatts of wind farm development. It's not strictly to the wind. You can also explore it in solar or other renewables, which is of course, I'd say, secured or provided by the grid expansion and new possibilities for investments, meaning that the electrical network and grid in Serbia is upgrading. So any new electric facility you can easily connect to the grid. The new renewable energy sources legislation, Mr. Lutovac already explained a little bit. And what is good with renewables, it's that they have not just in Serbia, but worldwide, like the simple construction and operation and manuals. So if you invest in renewables in Serbia, I sketched kind of a Gantt chart. It can take you from 1 year up to 4 or 5 years, depending on the size of an investment. But you have to do, if it's a bigger facility, like some general design, some pre-feasibility study, see if you're facing some environmental issues. This also applies for renewable sources. Then further develop the investments. When you figure out that you can make the feasible investment, you go to the further development, get the permits, and you can go to the construction and exploitation further, or in quite often cases, you can sell out your investment. This is you can play the role as a developer as well. We can provide you the support, but once you reach the construction permit, you secure the land, you can transfer your development with a nominal fee. So I was trying I wanted to make like a simple guide for renewables investments in Serbia, because I was working 10 years with the foreign investors and developers. So what is really important is like to define the investment size, either in megawatts or euros or dollars or whatsoever. So either as a financial or energy category. It's also important to know if you want to develop investment in a year, or you're ready to wait for 4 or 5 years. As well to select if you want to go to the wind, the solar, hydro, biomass, and to perform preliminary exploration works. The financing source is also important. If you're using your own money, it could be easier and faster, but probably is more expensive than to use the funds and loan. To find available land for wind, you don't need so much land. For solar, a little bit more, but there is available soil and land in Serbia. To optimize the investment and continue with the development, get the licenses and permits, and either, as I mentioned, proceed with the construction or just sell out to develop the investment. What is good to know is that land in Serbia is either private or public. It's a little bit trickier. If you go for a public land, then you have to make a certain agreements with the government. It takes a little bit more time, but it's also more secure. You can also lease a land. You don't need to buy it for 50 years, 25 years, depending on the lifetime of your investment. The substation you're going to develop and finance for grid connection is going to be given to DSO or TSO. We don't have feed-in tariffs anymore, so you cannot count on 12 years state subsidies. But luckily, the electricity market is supporting this type of investments. So electricity market price is tied to HUPEX, or the Hungarian electricity market. What is realistic with renewables is that you have a payback period from 5 to 10 years. I would be free to tell you, if somebody says that you can get a 2 years payback period investing in solar photovoltaic plant, it's not true. It's going to be like 6-7 years if you're happy, 8 to 9 years if you're not really happy. The weight of average capital cost, you should count it less than 8%, otherwise your internal rate of return probably is not going to be satisfying you. And development, as I mentioned, takes 1 to 4 years, depending on the size of the investment. The bigger investment, if you're talking about 100 million investment, or I don't know, 100 megawatts, probably is going to take 3 to 4 years. But smaller investments up to 10 megawatts, which is like up to 5 to 10 million euros, you can develop it in a year and a half. And if you're going to deal with wind, it's definitely going to take more than 2 years of development. So within our companies, we do the support and the designing for the wind, for the solar, for biomass, for any other types of investments. And our brief references at what I mentioned, the first PV plants in Serbia 10 years ago. We've been involved in more than half a gigawatt of solar photovoltaic development, also half gigawatt in wind. We have more than 50 met masts installations in the region, also Bosnia, Macedonia. We do the industry standard annual energy production calculations. We do all kind of feasibility and bankable studies. We can do the turnkey, but rather as a system integrator or a consultancy in the bigger investments, which also includes the legal and risk assessment. So we're talking about investments starting from 1 million up to 100 million euros, dollars, whatsoever. You can count on our support. And of course, we have all required certificates for the quality, data confidentiality, energy efficiency, and everything what you can require. So thank you for your time. This is my contact. If you have any further questions, you can approach me by email. You can easily find me. So thank you once again. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. It was very interesting. I think this is a good opportunity in Serbia. So many thanks for all your presentations, which were very insightful. As you know, economic development go through all that we saw. So I think that our spectators must have been very interested by Serbia's presentations. Now, I think that I'm going to leave the floor to Mr. Justin Hyman, who is the Deputy CEO of the Monaco Economic Board, and who is going to give us the questions we saw during these presentations. Justin?
Thank you very much, Guillaume, and thank you to all for your very insightful presentations, which were, as Guillaume just said, very full of information, and that gave way to a few questions. So as time is short, I will ask immediately the very first question for Mihailo, Mr. Vesović. How is the regional cooperation, the exchanges and the initiatives engaged nowadays in the Western Balkans? Please, Mihailo. We have lost Mihailo, so I will ask another question whilst he maybe comes back to the floor. This question, I think, will be perhaps for Mila, Mrs. Milenković. Could you tell us more about the IoT platform of Telecom Serbia? Is it access agnostic? What are your plans regarding new generations of mobile telephony, please?
Yes, as I mentioned before, we have an activity platform developed by a French company, And yes, it is future-proof and it is access agnostic, and it could be used not only for LoRa technology, but also for 5th generation mobile telephony, as well as NB-IoT technology.
Super. Thank you very much for this answer. Well, we have another questions on IoT, and may I ask you this one as well? Which IoT services does Telecom Serbia have the most expectations for?
Everything that regards with mobile health, and also a smart home. So we believe that if you have a gateway at your home, you can actually have all devices connected within a home. So for private customers, it's smart home. For business customers, any kind of tracking. And of course, smart city as something that is very governmentally oriented.
Thank you very much. Has Mihailo come back to the floor or not? Not that I can see, as we had a couple of questions for him. So let me check. I think that might be it, unless someone else would like to answer the question on the main measures to attract foreign investment. I don't know if one of the speakers would like to answer that question. I thought of Mihailo perhaps, but maybe someone else would like to answer that. Not for the moment. Okay, well that leaves it to the first question that Mihailo, maybe Your Excellency Ambassador, maybe this question you may be able to answer on the regional cooperation existing at this moment in time in the Western Balkans. What different initiatives or exchanges perhaps have been initiated?
Yes, of course, regional cooperation is one of the main topics for Belgrade, and Belgrade is, as you know, champion of this politics in the region, because apart from economic opportunities, preventing the peace in the region is very important, and we think that this is the best way to do it. For us, the most important initiative is initiative which our president, Mr. Vučić, launched, proposed. It is a so-called mini or small Schengen. The idea is the free trade and free traveling, free exchange of goods, finance, people in the region. For the moment, Serbia, North Macedonia and Albania accepted a membership in it. And we are expecting that also other countries from the region will be with us very soon. This is not just something which is important for us, it is also important for European Union, because as you know, we are on our path as other countries from the region. And this is something which is really in the main topic, among the main topics for Serbia.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
You're welcome.
Very clear indeed. And perhaps one last question to conclude this Q&A, for which I will give the floor to Mihailo now, which is, what are the main measures to attract foreign direct investment this year to Serbia, please?
Hello. I was trying to multitask and doing several things parallelly, so I missed the first question, but I think that Excellency explained the regional cooperation as one of the main pillars of our strategy, especially as the chamber basically runs ahead of the business community, runs ahead of the politics, and that's what's most important, because we have to have a free trade of and not just free trade of goods but the services, but also free flow of people and capital, that is at most important, and treat the region as an investment common space. and all the supply chains and the whole business should be run without any obstacles, and that's why we call it the 4 Freedoms initiatives. And we are trying that, and we are calling it mini Schengen colloquially, but it's basically complete removal of any barriers for the free flow of goods, services, and people. The second question that you ask is what are the main measures to attract foreign investments? Well, generally, from the legal point of view, we have signed agreements with more than 50 countries about on reciprocal promotion and protection of investments. On the other hand, we have signed the agreement of avoidance of the double taxation with 63 countries, most of the investors basically coming from those countries, and that's one thing. Second thing is we have a trade agreements, you heard about them. There we have a free trade agreement, especially with European Union and Russia. But on the other hand, we also have a general system of preferences with United States, with Japan. We are negotiating, and currently we are expecting anytime soon to sign the new agreement with the United Kingdom, which is something that put a little bit hold of our trade relations in the last 1 month and a half. We are expecting to have a free trade agreement in the next few weeks. Another thing that we usually should mention, in Serbia, there's 15 free zones for the investments, and free zones operating on international level. More than 20,000 people are employed there, and it's one of the best concepts, and one of our free zones in Pirot is recognized as one of the best cases in the world that should be presenting how the free zones should operate and attract the investments. Then you have a reduction of tax and contribution paid on net salary. That depends on basically which kind of investment is and what number of jobs are created. And of course, there is a law that regulates the corporate income tax, which rate is 15%. Now, depending on how many jobs are created, for example, 100 new jobs, and more than 1 billion, somewhere about 9 million euros, you basically have a 10 years tax holiday for first 10 years. And also there is a tax deduction if you invest capital of in the innovative company in the research and design. The deduction of the tax for the investment that is made is somewhere about 30%. Then you have state incentives for investors for the special purposes, for the different strategic agreements. And there is an institution, aside from the chamber, there is a development agency of Serbia that you can communicate, also the Ministry of Economy and the Ministry of Agriculture, depending in which field are the investments. But in generally, call Chamber of Commerce, and we open up completely the doors to any information and possible investments. And I should call that everybody visits the site of the Serbian Chamber of Commerce. There is a lot of very important documents that can be downloadable. One of the documents is basically everything that investors can get out of the state aid on the national level, and not just on the national level. It's very important to have it on the local level. There are possibilities on the local level, and of course there's one of the most important part is the communal infrastructure and energy infrastructure that is also part of the investment, and that communication should be done accordingly through the institutions. So feel welcome to ask us, and we'll provide you any contact or any information concerning the concrete projects.
Thank you very much, Mihailo, for all those insights. And I'm sure a lot of our members will be visiting your websites for complimentary information or contacting you directly. Thank you to all for your answers, and we look forward to continuing and pursuing this momentum of bringing our economies together and discovering some new opportunities. I'll give you back the floor, Guillaume, for some concluding remarks, and à bientôt, and merci encore.
Thank you very much, Justin. Many thanks once more for joining us and discovering Serbia's diverse and dynamic economy and its numerous business opportunities. I would like to thank all our esteemed panelists for their insight. it has been a very interesting webinar, I think, and I think that we'll have some feedback from our entrepreneurs, and we'll speak about Serbia with them. Now I will see most of you tomorrow for our latest digital workshop, Les Ateliers du Numérique, with a so local company. And the following webinar will be held on March 24th in collaboration with the SEMA. It will focus on business, not March 24th, sorry, but February 24th, in collaboration with the SEMA, and it will focus on business opportunities for Monaco-based companies in Tunisia. Thank you very much again, and I hope to see you soon. Goodbye.
Bye.